Welcome to Strategy Unlocked, powered by Business Navigators.
Hello, Reden. This is Luke Medvegi with Strategy Unlocked. Thank you for coming to our podcast today.
Hey, Luke. I appreciate the time, man.
Hey, so would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself with the team so we can learn a little more about you and why you're here today and how you could help veterans unlock their strategy?
Thanks. I appreciate that. So coming up in my retirement from the Navy of almost 22 years, going into transitioning into the civilian sector and really right now focusing on family with my two girls, my wife, and then also my passion, which is my coaching.
That's awesome. So would you mind sharing with our audience a little bit about your coaching? What is you coach, why you chose whatever program to coach, and how you're helping the community with your coaching services?
Yeah, sure. So my last command, my last tour, basically, I was in a training command. And the best part of that was just seeing the transformation of the sailors that I was able to be a part of in their military journey, taking them in from day one to the day they graduate and just seeing that transformation, right? So I really loved that coaching and mentoring aspect. And so I just brought that along into my personal life and then also tried to bring that to my clients. A lot of my clients they're entrepreneurs, they're parents just like me who have the similar struggles that I'm having, trying to juggle all these different responsibilities with work and then with family. And so just helping them out to be more intentional with their time so that they can create that meaningful impact, not just at work, but at home as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're using your experience over 20 years in your coaching. Is there a program or anything that has assisted you in becoming a certified coach that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, for sure. So when I first started coaching, I was actually a personal trainer about 6 years ago. And then a couple years ago, around 2023, I joined the Maxwell leadership team, right? And it was at this time, leadership, personal development, that was self-improvement, that was really high on my priority. And so when I joined, being part of Maxwell leadership really helped me get to that level, and not only for myself, but also helped me grow as a coach for my clients.
Wow. So you said you used a Maxwell leadership team to assist you in that. Is there anything that resonated from that you can share or anything like any tips, tricks, or if a veteran's listening to this and they're obviously navigating business, or maybe they're navigating some life choices or decisions, is there anything you can share with them to help them a little bit on their journey?
For me, with John Maxwell, I really related to his style of leadership, his empathetic and genuine leadership. And then also one of my favorite books is by him, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, right? And so a lot of us, when we talk about our community, the veteran community, I feel like that's lacking, focusing on our own personal growth. We're always about the mission, right? And then sometimes we lose focus on ourselves and our own self-development and our own improvement. So really focusing on the personal growth, and that book really helped me lead to the Maxwell Leadership Program.
Oh, that's awesome. So are you taking clients on now in this period of time of transition? And if so, what are you trying to climb to?
Yeah, for sure. I'm taking clients. I do have some clients right now. My main focus is helping parents, or what I like to call parent-preneurs, right? Parents who are also business owners or who are entrepreneurs. And life happens, right, for everybody. And there's a lot of responsibilities when you're not just a parent, but also you have a small business or you're an entrepreneur. You're juggling a lot of responsibilities. And I'm there basically to help them to be more intentional with their time, to prioritize their purpose, and to ensure that they create meaningful impact, not just at work or in their business, but most importantly at home.
No, that's awesome. That is absolutely amazing, and I appreciate you sharing that. So in this process, and obviously you're a business owner, you're going through this yourself, right?
Yeah.
The whole coaching program. And it didn't happen overnight. What is there a technique that you're using that maybe you could help out other veteran entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs themselves on like, hey, maybe you've established a career, you've had a career for 20 years, you were in the military, was what your career is about. Now you're transitioning, you're getting ready to step into this next step, next chapter. Is there any, and you're starting your own business, is there any tips or tricks or anything you want to share with the audience on something that's helping you along in your journey to maybe it could help them along as well?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And we talk about strategy. That's part of the podcast, strategy. I feel like strategy without intentionality, that's just like having a mission without a target, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may be busy, but are you really going to be effective if you're not intentional, right? So as veterans, we're used to following orders, but I think for us to thrive post-service, it requires us to not just to execute, but just know how to execute as well. So like I said, being intentional, making sure that we are focused, because there's a lot of things going on right now, right? There's a lot of distractions going on. I think focus is a key, focus and intentional action.
So be focused and be intentional. I like that. I think that's great point. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention AI, because I use AI in everything. I wrote a couple books on AI. I attend podcasts on AI, and AI is with us. Before I talk too much about AI, I'd like to say something I think is interesting. Going back in time, I remember going through high school, it was like, hey, you can only have a certain calculator. And then they're like, oh, you can have this calculator. Then going through life, you can't have a phone. And now you have this type of phone that has more computing power today than the first spaceship that went into outer space. And now we're in this next generation, this next phase of technology, with artificial intelligence or maybe language learning models when it comes into statistical probability of trying to help solve and answer some of your questions by prompts, which eventually is helping us really break into the more of the artificial intelligence realm. But where do you think that is in terms of helping veteranpreneurs, question one, and two, what do you think that is in helping you maybe as your own entrepreneur or running your own company when it comes to coaching?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for that question. As veterans, I think we have to have that shift in our mindset, right? So we feel like once we get out of the military, oh, it's time to start over, right? No, you're not starting over. You're starting with the experience that most people never really get, right? And you got to utilize that, use that to your advantage, especially nowadays. You talk about AI, right? When you're utilizing AI, for example, to help you build your resume, right? You got to make sure that you're not just asking simple questions, right? You have to, I feel like with AI nowadays, it's kind of like you're on a date and you have to let that AI know who you really are. Let them know your background, all the things that you've done in the military, and not just the basic questions that you might ask AI, right? So I feel like it can be so personable and it can get personalized as long as you go deep enough with the questions with AI.
Just reminds me of teaching at various schools in the military. And my past was taught at the Army Logistics University. By the way, they just recently named it to the Army. It's the same university. And then I taught at the Army University, specifically the Command General Staff College. And this reminds me of a valuable lesson I would always tell my students. I would always share it with them, is you get out of this what you put into this. So same thing with AI. If you putting in valuable prompts, you're thinking critically, you're trying to ask a second and third tier kind of question, I think that hopefully by doing that, if the algorithm and the database and everything you're going through, because there's a lot of them out there, is I would say more refined, you're gonna get that answer back. That's a little more at the next level. The other thing is, I would say when it comes to artificial intelligence, everything from ChatGPT to Copilot is that you should use a service where your data is protected. Because there's proprietary information, even in coaching, that you may put into it. And then if you go into it, it feeds off of everyone's input. So if you go into it and you're not using that protected data, that protected base, you could be giving out a valuable business information for the next guy to go in and try to get. So that's my AI warning there. But so I appreciate you sharing that. And I appreciate you sharing your insights and thoughts on the AI. If we in the audience, if they wanted to follow you or if they wanted to get in touch with you for your services, Reden, how would they do that?
The best way to get in touch with me, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn would probably be the best. Just search for my name, Reden Dionisio. I'm sure we'll put that in the show notes somewhere because that's hard to spell.
So
But just find me on LinkedIn. Yep.
So find you on LinkedIn. Also, so we'll do that. We'll make sure to find you on LinkedIn. And Reden, you're located in San Antonio, Texas, right? Are you going to stay out that way?
So I'll be here for actually about a month and a half. And then my family and we're going to be moving to Jacksonville, Florida.
So if you're looking for Reden Dionisio and you want to have an office visit, he'll be in Jacksonville, Florida. Otherwise, reach out to him on LinkedIn. And Reden's motto is intentional leadership for meaningful impact. He's a coach, he's a speaker, he's a trainer. And you can find him also at redendionisio.com. Reden, we appreciate having you here, or I appreciate having you here today for strategyunlocked.ai, where we're helping veterans and entrepreneurs unlock their business strategy and also for them to achieve the next level of growth. So if anyone else in the audience has any questions about it, please follow us at thebusinessnavigators.com. And we look forward to seeing you at our next podcast. Thank you for coming today.
Please like, follow, subscribe, and share. Need a top-notch business consulting firm? Book a free consultation.